Hello, we're history hikers. I'm Dries.
And I'm Jente.
Let's conquer the final sun of Carcassonne.
You can see the mighty Puilaurens behind us.
Let's go and check it out. Imagine you're a Spanish soldier. It's the 17th century and war has broken out again with the French neighbors. You and your comrades are tasked with capturing one of the French border fortresses, but its name itself instills you with fear as it's one of the most terrifying castles in the region. To reach the fortress of Puilaurens, you first have to snake your way up the steep stairs. The many turns winding back and forth are slowing down your attack, all the while the enemy has a perfect field of fire on you and your fellow soldiers. You eventually make it through the barbican and reach the main gate, which you now have to break down somehow. There's nowhere to hide from the constant pelting of stones and fire from above. As by miracle, the Spanish troops are able to burst open the gate and you storm inside with your mates. Boom! You're trapped in a small courtyard. 12 muskets from 12 embrasures are pointed directly at you, stones are falling from above and there's no way out. This is where your journey ends.
In 1637, the castle had to withstand such a siege, and it would have probably survived if most of its garrison wasn't ordered away to do a battle nearby. The Spanish troops were eventually able to make it past the obstacles in their way and cornered many of the defenders in this dead end, which ended in a bloodbath.
In this building we find a cistern with a drain cut from the stone next to it. Nearby we find the northern postern gate.
The walls around the lower castle are incredibly well preserved through the years, with much of the crenellation still visible. The ramparts are joined by two half-round towers, of which one has been filled in during the 17th century. Originally, they would have been open at the back with ladders that could be retracted to reach the ramparts.
Next to the open back tower, there is a second postern gate. It leads to an amazing vantage point with stunning views over the valley as well as the north side of the castle. The history of the mighty fortress of Puilaurens begins in the 10th century when these lands were owned by the Abbey of Cuxa. From its time during the Albigensian Crusade, we only know that it was held by a vassal of the Lord of Peyrepertuse, a superb castle nearby we also visited. Check out the card in the top right or the link in the description.
During the Crusade, Puilaurens also welcomed Qatar refugees who were driven out of their homes. From Inquisition records, we can read into one such story. Sorin Rigaud was a Qatar who fled from Fenouillet, another castle we visited. After her son died, she wandered around until she eventually reached Puilaurens, where she would settle in the town at the base of the castle, along with several other believers. The upper castle is protected with a double gate, ramparts and towers. Whereas the lower castle was home to the garrison and used for storage, the upper castle was home to the lord.
The entire rock is home to many caves, and while you might think these were used as secret passageways, they were actually more likely used as coal storage. In 1255, the castle came under control of the French king. With the Treaty of Corbeil in 1258, Puilaurens would serve as one of the border castles near Aragon. Because of this, thorough reconstruction was needed. Everything we see today dates to either these or later reconstructions. It is then part of the 5 sons of Carcassonne, together with the castles of Quéribus, Peyrepertuse, Termes, and Aguilar.
Over the centuries, Puilaurens was the French first line of defense right up until the year 1659, when the border moved further south with the Treaty of the Pyrenees. Despite it still being garrisoned for a number of years, the castle would start to deteriorate and fall into ruin. The upper castle battlements give amazing views over the valley and the rest of the castle. Here you can also see remains of crenellation which show the dizzying heights of the castle. From here you can throw projectiles all the way to the bottom of the rock.
Despite its older square shape, this tower was built later than the rest of the upper castle. It's the donjon or keep.
This open space is home to the cistern for the upper castle. It gives access to the battlements and the second round tower.
This tower with a beautiful vaulted ceiling has the perfect view over the entrance path. There's also an interesting architectural detail here. There's a small pipe dug into the stones which allowed soldiers to communicate with the different levels of the tower. What an impressive castle. Let's continue on with the arbitrary subjective castle score. You go first.
I am indeed deeply impressed by Puilaurens, so I give it a 10.
It's a 10. It's a 10. We were the History Hikers. Thank you so much for watching. Let us know your score in the comments.
And like, comment, subscribe and all that good YouTube stuff if you want to see more of these kind of castles.
Until next time.
Bye.